All right, what I'm going to pass out is one paper, so just take one page past the first one. All right. Make sure you write your name on it. Take out your periodic table as well. So get your periodic table out. You'll need that for the whole day. All right, so today you're going to do a lab. We are going to do the pre-lab together. The learning goal is that you can identify and classify ions and isotopes. We should know how to do a little bit of that already. By the end of today, you should be an expert and not miss any of those on your test. So we're going to do the pre-lab together. Number one says identify the element. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Someone raise their hand and tell me what element it is. Grant. Carbon, yes. So anytime you're writing an element, for this, for the test, for anything, if you just want to write the symbol, you can write the symbol. So if you just want to put a C, that's fine, or write out carbon. Now when I was looking at that, did I care about neutrons and electrons? No, I was just identifying the element. B says I have 18 protons, 20 neutrons, and 18 electrons. Jasmine, what do we think? Argon. So again, you can write out argon, you can put AR. Now when I'm looking at these numbers, 6 and 18, who remembers what that number is called? Say it out loud if you remember it. Say that louder. Atomic number, good. Atomic number is the number you're looking at. Make sure you know that vocab, because on the test I'll ask you the atomic number of carbon. You know that is number of protons. So C says 3 protons, 4 neutrons, and 3 electrons. What element we got there? Lithium, good. So again, Li or just lithium. What number did you look at to find that, Caleb?
The atomic number.
Very good. Next one says, what is the isotope name for each of the following? When we write an isotope name, you need the element. So let's do the first one, 8 protons, 8 neutrons, 8 electrons. What element is that? Sam? Oxygen. So you need to actually write out the word oxygen. You can put the symbol if you want to. Now, we have a dash, and then we put a number next to it. Remember what number goes next to it. You can say it out loud if you remember. Mass number. Not average atomic mass. That's what we find on the periodic table. Mass number is a little bit different. So we put the mass number. How do we find mass number? Nope. Add protons plus neutrons. So in this one, what's my mass number? 16. So remember, this is mass number. If you want to write on your paper, mass number is protons plus neutrons, might be a good idea. Because then you're doing that in your lab, and it helps you remember. Number 2B says 15 protons, 16 neutrons, and 15 electrons. First off, what element is it? Phosphorus. So I'm going to just put a P. How'd you know that it was phosphorus? What number did you look at? Atomic number. Then we have 16 neutrons, 15 electrons. So what is my mass number? 31. If you're not a fan of mental math, I'll give you the calculators during the lab. Next one, 30 protons, 36 neutrons, 30 electrons. What element do I have? Say it out loud. Zinc. Then I have a dash. What number do I write next to that dash? 66. How'd you get that number? Protons and neutrons. Very good. Say these things out loud so when you're taking a test, you can say it in your head and not miss it. Next one says ions. Who remembers what an ion is? Raise your hand and see if they can give me a definition. Sam, go for it.
Isn't it an element with a positive or negative charge?
Correct. An element with a charge. It can be positive or negative. So this one says 5 protons, 6 neutrons, 2 electrons. My element. Out loud. Boron, so it would be. Don't need a dash because that's isotopes. Anytime you have an ion, you need to tell me the charge. So this boron has 5 protons, 2 electrons. If something has a charge, it has a different amount of protons and electrons. This one has 5 protons, 2 electrons. So does it have more positives or more negatives? Positives. How many more positives? 3. So I should have a plus 3. Make sure you put that plus 3 in the top right corner. 3 Next one, 37 protons, 48 neutrons, and 36 electrons. So again, what number do I look at for the element?
37.
37, which is called the atomic number. And what element do I have?
Rubidium.
Rubidium, which is Rb. So then I have 48 neutrons. Do I care about neutrons right now?
No.
No, because that matters with isotopes. I have 36 electrons, 37 protons. What's my charge?
1.
Positive 1. Now, if it's just a 1 charge, positive 1 or minus 1, you don't need to actually write the 1. So you can just put a plus, and we assume that that is plus 1 or minus 1. Next one, 16 protons, 16 neutrons, and 18 electrons. Someone tell me what that element is. Sulfur. S. I have 16 protons, 18 electrons. So what's my charge?
-2.
-2. Now, number 4, I want you to read, and I want you to answer A, B, C, and D. So take 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes. Read and answer those. Read carefully. Make sure you answer all the questions. Make sure you read the questions so you're given the right thing. Probably another minute. All right, so looking at those pre-lab questions, someone raise their hand and tell me what you got for A. Caleb, what you get for A? Vanadium. Vanadium is how you say it. Vanadium, symbol is V. If you are afraid to pronounce something, don't feel bad. No one else knows how to pronounce it either. All right, B. Someone raise their hand and tell me what you got for B. What'd you get, B? 23. How'd you find that? And that's it. Yep. So atomic mass number. You should take protons plus, atomic mass number is proton. Next one says, what is the charge on each atom? So I should have 3 of these. What does someone have for C? Sam, what did you get for C?
So for the first atom, I had it was neutral.
Neutral, so 0 or neutral, whatever's fine.
The second one was also neutral.
Good.
And the third one had a +5 charge.
Good, so you should have 0, 0, and +5. If you wrote neutral, that's fine too. That's what the 0 charge means. All right, so D, they want you to write the atomic symbol. When you have the atomic symbol, you always have the element symbol of V. In the bottom is what number? Protons, which is called atomic number. Good. So I have 23. The top number is the mass number. How do I find mass number? Protons plus neutrons. For the first one, how much was it? 50. Now on the top right, you write a charge. If it doesn't have a charge, you can put a 0 here, or you can leave it blank. So if you wrote a 0 here, that's fine. I'm not going to mark you wrong on a test or something. But if you left it blank, that also tells me you know there's no charge. So 99% of the time, I'm just going to leave it with nothing there. The second one, the only difference is we now have a mass number of 51. Everything else should be exactly the same. And the very last one, almost the same as the first. This time my V has a +5 charge, so I should write the +5 in the top right. So if you look at these two, the only way to tell the difference is there's a charge. This has a +5 charge. This has a 0 charge. Make sense? So even before we start the lab today, on your fingers, 1 through 5. 5, if you are super confident, you think this is super easy. 1 is you have no idea what's going on. Just hold them up and tell me where you're at even before the lab. Okay, good. So, what we're going to do in the lab, flip to the back page. On that back page, it says bag, and then it gives you a letter. You have A through, and actually you need to add J down there. So at the very bottom, add J. I forgot to put J on the table. Back there are bags. These bags represent atoms. Again, atoms are so small we can't actually take a carbon atom and check out its different isotopes. So we're using this bag to represent what an atom looks like. In this bag, you have blue marbles, you have black marbles. The blue marbles are representing neutrons, the black marbles are representing protons. First thing you should notice is they're the same exact size. That's because protons and neutrons weigh the same. So the only way to tell the difference is the color. And we put the color so you can tell the difference. On the bag, it says the number of electrons. So like this one says 1 electron. When you are doing those, if you notice that the black marker is faded away and you don't know what number it is, raise your hand up, I'll tell you. So we can do A together. It says number of protons. I look at this bag, there's 1 proton. So in A, number of protons, I should put 1. Number of neutrons. Again, I look at this bag, there's 1 blue marble, so I'm going to put 1. Then it says mass number. How do I find mass number? Add the 2, which is adding protons and neutrons. So my mass number is 2, so write down a 2. Then I should be able to figure out the element. What element is this? Hydrogen. And how'd you know that? Because the atomic number is 1. Very good. So write out hydrogen. Then it says number of electrons. That's written on the bag. This one tells me there's 1 electron in this bag. We don't put the electrons in here because electrons are so small that we consider the weight 0. So keep that in mind. Then we have symbol. So for my symbol, hydrogen is H. What goes in the bottom? Protons, which is 1. What goes up top? 2. Doesn't have a charge?
Yeah.
How many electrons does it have? How many protons? 0. Very good. So if you put a 0 here, that's fine. If you leave it blank, that tells me that there's no charge. So either one is fine. Then my isotope name. You should write out hydrogen. And what is that number that goes next to it called? 2, and what's it called? Mass number. Good. So that is A. When you go back there, try to keep them in alphabetical order and only take 1 bag at a time. Now, there's a bunch of bags back there. Not everyone can do B. So when you're with your lab groups, grab whatever one you want. Make sure you're writing in the right column. And I need you to circle letters E, I, N, and R. If you circle those, your group needs to get that checked. When you have that bag, finish it, raise your hand so I come check it, make sure you know what you're doing. You should finish all of this. Take your time, ask questions. I'm going to be walking around asking questions. And let me know if you have any. Don't be afraid to ask. Go ahead and get started. Bring your periodic table back, your pencil. Shouldn't need anything else.
What's up, guys?
Are you being serious?
Yeah, I wear a rocket, but I like it. Like it looks like
It's real.
oh, I thought you were working.
I'm a best dog.
Number of electrons.
Only take 1 bag at a time, so each group has a bag. I'm coming 1 second. Let me just adjust this. What's up? Make sure you're only taking one bag at a time. Make sure to get those ones checked if you got to get them checked.